Money is the fourth episode of the fourth season of The Office. This is directed by Paul Lieberstein, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. In general, it's okay. It's another double-parter, and honestly, as with pretty much the previous three, I feel like there's too much material for it to be one episode, but not enough for it to be a quality double-parter. So I don't hate that it's twice the length of a normal episode, but I don't think it's as good as a normal length episode. And I will go through things and share some thoughts along the way. I'm mostly going chronologically, but in the beginning I will lump a few thoughts together. It starts off with Michael having rented Devil Wears Prada. Loved Pam's response to all of that. Definitely a fun way to start things off. We then find out that Michael is having money issues because of Jan. And Jan seems to care less about how much things cost, despite the fact that she's the one who lost her presumably high-paying job. And Michael ends up taking a second job in sales, and we get a couple of scenes there. I really liked those. The camera crew went with him, obviously, because that's how we see it, but the camera crew went with him, which I thought was a nice touch. Meanwhile, Dwight gets a phone call in the office for his family B&B, and Pam then decides to phone him, and she books a night stay at Dwight's B&B, family B&B, and Jim points out when they get there that it's his first night away with Pam, and he thought there'd be a little less manure, and those scenes I quite liked. I would have liked maybe a little bit more out of those scenes, or maybe spending a little bit more time there, as they do come back quite quickly, probably around the halfway mark. I'm not sure exactly, but I do think they could have done a little bit more with that. The next day, everybody comes into work tired. Michael is exhausted because he's been working his second job. Dwight's exhausted from being at the B&B, and Jim and Pam are exhausted because it was quite an experience at the B&B. But Rainn comes in full of energy, ready for his presentation. Kelly has a bit of energy for Daryl. Obviously, she's trying to throw this in Ryan's face. But nothing goes according to plan, as Michael hadn't even opened up the PowerPoint presentation, never mind having prepared for Ryan's visit. So, not really a great time for anybody, and Rainn tells Michael, you can't work a second job if it interferes with your current job, which it is, because he's too tired and hasn't had time to prepare anything. So he tells Michael he has to quit. And Andy then asks Pam to try and help him get Angela to pay attention to him, because no matter what he does, she's not interested in dating him. And Pam said to the camera she couldn't do that to Dwight, or Angela, or Andy, implying there, of course, that each of them would be a nightmare to date, and it would be quite interesting to see any of them dating any of them. We know how it plays out with Dwight and with Angela and Andy. Well, time will tell, and I'll come back to that in a moment. Michael then realises he has to declare bankruptcy, so he does. He stands up and shouts, I declare bankruptcy. Oscar points out that doesn't do anything, so he tries to help him, and Michael's getting flustered, and Oscar says, this is a presentation tool, to which Michael responds, you're a presentation tool. Which I absolutely love. I hate presentations. They're so boring, and I'm on Michael's side. Not that I would ever call somebody a presentation tool, but I absolutely love that. And Pam and Jim then leave a positive review for Dwight's B&B. They really support Dwight a lot in this episode. Dwight is very clearly going through a very difficult time, which we'll see more of in a little bit. And then Michael's on the phone with Jan, and he explains he's got no money, and Jan asks him how he could be so responsible. Shut your face! How can she be so oblivious to the fact that she's the one who is spending so recklessly? It's utterly ridiculous. I've never liked Jan as a character. Never, ever. But she's becoming insufferable. I kind of like what she brings to the show, but I really don't know what the future is going to hold for the character or for her relationship with Michael, and I'm very keen to find out. And Michael obviously can't believe what she's saying either, to the point where he runs out of the building and runs towards the trains, because he's going to get on the train and run away from his problems. Meanwhile, back in the office, Angela accepts the cat from Andy. This is Garbage, the cat Garbage from a couple of episodes ago, and this is significant because Dwight tried to give Angela the cat, and she wouldn't accept the cat, which is fair enough because Dwight was just trying to replace Sprinkles, which is not great. But Andy wasn't trying to replace the cat that he killed because he didn't kill a cat. And Angela was willing to accept the cat. And she agrees to spend time with Andy. And I still think she's just doing this to hurt Dwight. And I don't know what's going to happen there. But I'm keen to find out. Jim then comforts Dwight. And it was a really beautiful moment. For all Jim is willing to wind Dwight up, he's there for Dwight when he needs somebody. And so is Pam. And it's as a couple, they are there for Dwight. And I think that Dwight needs two people to lift him up in the moment because he's going through a very dark time. And it was really lovely to see. And we then end with Jan talking with Michael. And there was one moment where Michael said, I didn't write the quote down, but I think he said something to the effect of, I've really screwed things up. And this is my reading of it, I could be wrong, but I think he's talking about his relationship with Jan. I don't think for a second he's talking about his finances, because now he begged Jan, basically, to go out with him, begged to have her time. And now she's with him. He doesn't know how to get out of this. And I think that's why he thinks he's screwed up. And yes, Jan did say some comforting things, and she did thank him for being there when she needed him. But I feel like that could have been a really good moment for Michael to say, I really screwed things up. The relationship is over. But maybe then, because Jan swooped in with some nice things, Michael no longer felt he could say that. But that is my interpretation of it. Maybe he did mean financially, but I don't think so. But either way, I don't know what to expect from their relationship going forward. On the one hand, I want him to dump her, because I don't think she's good for him at all. And I think he thinks that as well. But at the same time, I kind of like seeing Jan. I also kind of like seeing her life fall apart. That sounds really horrible. But she's not a very likeable character. And she hasn't had her priorities straight. And she hasn't made a lot of good decisions. So she needs to get to the point, and I think she's almost there, where she realises she hasn't behaved in an acceptable way. She hasn't treated people or their money very acceptably. And she needs to start making changes. And I want to see that for her. I want to see her get to that point where she has nothing left because of her own actions. And then she can turn things around and maybe become a more likeable character. I would really like that to happen. I'd like to go on this full journey with Jan, from Jan being at the top or near the top to completely at the bottom, and then climbing up and showing that she can actually make something of herself through effort and by being a good person. And at the moment, I'm not seeing any of that. I'm seeing her giving up. And I think maybe it is a mental health response. I don't think she's just being lazy and mooching off of Michael because she wants to. I think she's having a negative mental health response to being cast aside, which is fair enough. I don't blame her. But I think we need to start having some forward movement with the character, at least soon, maybe not immediately, but I really want to see some positive things happening for her. Maybe she needs to hit rock bottom a little bit further first, but the journey, I think, could be quite interesting. So I don't know what to expect. I never know what to expect from The Office, because every time I make a prediction, I'm always wrong. So I won't bother making a prediction. Money was quite an interesting episode. As I said, I don't think everything in it was perfect, whereas often regular length episodes can be perfect. But with these double features, that hasn't ever been the case. I don't think. I can't remember. There have only been 4 of them, but still, I don't think this one should have been a double feature. But there's enough material in there for more than one episode, so I guess it's fine. I'll take it. Money is maybe not my favourite episode, but there are definitely some really good moments.